Anyway, so let's go and jump into the Bible, because we all love Bible. Today we're going to look at Colossians chapter 3, verse 12 to 24. Chapter 3, verse 12 to 24. All right, we're going to do this. I'm going to read all the odd verses. You're going to read all the even verses. Can you do that? All right, it's on the screen. It's in the bulletin. It's in the Bible. Well, if you don't have an NIV version, oh, you still can read it out loud. All right, here we go. Chapter 3, verse 12 to 24. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. And over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom, and as you sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs with gratitude in your hearts to God. Wives, submit to your husbands, as is fitting in the Lord. Children, obey your parents in everything, for this pleases the Lord. Slaves, obey your earthly masters in everything, and do it not only when their eye is on you and to win their favor, but with sincerity of heart and reverence for the Lord. Last verse, we're going to read it together. Since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward, it is the Lord Christ you are serving. 3 years ago, I read a very interesting article which totally apply with my life and who I am. So I kind of wanted to share that with you. I read it from Korean newspaper, but the article itself was actually from English version. It goes like this. Beauty and brains do go together. Study claims good-looking men and women have higher IQs. That's the title. Handsome men and women often appear to be blessed with lucky lives. Now, research has shown they are cleverer than most people as well. Studies in Britain and America have found they have IQs 14 points above average. The findings dispel the myth of dumb blondes or good-looking men not being very bright. It appears that those already physically blessed attract partners who are not just good-looking, but brainy too, according to research by the London School of Economics. The children of these couples will tend to inherit both qualities, building a genetic link over successive generations between them. LSE researcher Satoshi Kanazawa told the Sunday Times, physical attractiveness is significantly positively associated with general intelligence, both with and without controls for social class, body size, and wealth. The association between attractiveness and general intelligence is also stronger among men than among women. In Britain, the study found that men who are physically attractive had IQs on average 13.6 points above the norm, while women were about 11.4 points higher. Kanazawa's findings were based on the National Child Development Study, which followed 17,419 people since their birth in a single week in March 1958. So I was reading this article. I kind of found out that no wonder I'm smart. Now everything makes sense. Basically, the more handsome you are, what is it? The better look you have, right? I mean, I do understand why you are not really following my message sometimes. And some of you will like laugh like when you get home, like, ah. Well, yeah, I mean, this is an interesting article, isn't it? It's basically saying, we have this stereotype. If you are good looking, that person tends to be kind of, less smart or something. But actually, I saved this article 3 years ago because I read it's from 2011. And like last week, I was preparing this message. I kind of, oh yeah, I saved that article for my message. And then somehow I thought it was more like, the better looking you are, better personality you have. I thought that was the title. So I saved the article till like Friday. Oh, now it's time to bring this out and use it. And then I found out that it's not about the better looking you are, the better personality you have. It's not that. Instead of that, it's better looking you are, smarter you are, right? Is that right? Yeah. So I was like, oh, should I just not use this article as my part of message? And then I realized that I don't really have anything else. So as I spontaneously share this article with you, I like to emphasize that though your looking matters, though your IQ, your intelligence matters, your personality matters most. I know it doesn't really connect any of this, what I just shared. But here's the thing. But there are people kind of saying, though you are very good looking, though you have a, very smart brain, still you have to be a good person. That's like general saying. People kind of say, right? Right? I mean, when you are growing up in your childhood, your parents didn't say, hey, you got to be handsome, right? Your parents didn't tell you, hey, you got to be really smart, right? But maybe some of parents actually did that. I don't know. But more than all that, your parents, when you actually were growing up, their focus was more like you gotta be a good person. You gotta have a good personality, right? That's what everybody kind of focuses. Like everybody thinks it is important. But if you think about it, being a good person, is it really a good thing? Let me ask you a question. A very simple question. Are you a nice, good person? Okay, raise your hand if you think you are a good person. We got 1, 2. Dr. Pellens, not confident enough. Okay, head of school. Maybe not really good person. Come on, raise your hand if you think you're a good person. Come on, be brave. I know you're not as good looking as I am, but the question isn't about that. Okay, we got a few. We got Adam. We got some here, some there. But most of you are not really that good person. Is that true? You evil people. You see? So Bible is so true. You are all sinners. You're all bad. But think about it. Being a good person, is it really a good thing? Is being a good person good? Seriously. When I was in a college, I happened to go to San Diego, and then I spent some time, doing some party, having fun with all my cool friends, I mean, if you were here last week, you don't really believe that, but well, I was like super Californian kids for like a week, and then I was in LA. It was time for me to go back home, Seattle, sleepless city, so nothing happening city. Anyway, so I was in LAX, the airport, and I realized that my plane is leaving like in about an hour. But line was really long for check-in. But I was like, it's gonna be taken care of because I'm on the line. I was there on time, so I think I gotta be taken care of with a high responsibility to catch my plane in time. But line was too long, and then I noticed that there was another guy who was taking the same flight. He was like right behind me with my friends, and then I realized that we all getting late, and the time was up. Plane was about to take off. But I was still just telling myself, you know what? I still gotta stay on the line, because line is line. Line is absolute discipline for me. And then I noticed the guy who was taking the basically same flight, he actually went right to the check-in desk and they communicate a little bit and he went in. And I was like, what did he just do? He cut the line. And then I realized my plane just left. And then, like 20 minutes later, I was up there right in front of that check-in desk and start conversation with what do you call them? People there, airplane people. And then I gave them my ticket, and they were like, "Hey, your plane just left." I was like, "Yeah, but I was in the line. I was keeping the rule." And then I was actually expecting to hear compliment or some sort of like bonus. Since you keep the rule, I'm going to give you a little bonus. I'm going to give you a reward. Here's your extra ticket to, again, San Diego, extra ticket. I'll give you another ticket to all the parties, with the cool people. I was kind of more looking for that, expecting that to happen. But you know what I actually heard from this airplane people? They said this to me. Why didn't you cut the line? I was like, what? What? I kept the rule. I was being good. But there's an evil guy who was sitting right behind me. He cut the line, but he actually got on his plane on time, and I am the one who got all this disadvantages, this all awful results. That's not fair. But this lady said, I can book you out with a later plane, and then I had to stay at LAX for 11 hours. 11 freakish hours. But here's the thing, if you're being good person, I can tell you this, it will not give you a, comfortable result. Isn't it true? I know maybe it's church, so I'm not supposed to say that. So if you be a good person, if you behave well, nothing good will happen to you. That's the lesson for today. Yeah, so we're going to pray now. And meditate on this. Oh God! Seriously, being good is painful, isn't it? It hurts. Haven't you experienced that in your life? Maybe I know you all admit that you're all bad. But a few of you who say you're good, haven't you experienced that you're being nice to somebody? You're like, let that person have what you were actually supposed to have. Let that other person enjoy the opportunity you were supposed to enjoy. But what was the outcome? Did the President Obama, come to you and give you some compliments? Did the people around you kind of recognize that? And did they say to you, oh, you are awesome. You are like an angel. Did it happen to you? No! Being good is bad. Yeah, so don't be good. If you look at today's passage, I don't know, there's different ways you may kind of meditate on today's passage. But since I'm such a nice and good person, if you look at these verses, 12 to 16, it goes like this. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Do you like these words? I don't like these words. If you do these, you don't get any good reward. You will have a lot of painful time. It goes on. Bear with each other. Ooh. And forgive whatever grievances you may have against one another. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. And overall, all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace, and be thankful. Be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom, and as you sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs with gratitude in your hearts to God. So when you're having a hard time, you still have to be a good person. You gotta sing. Do you do that? You're so stressful. Oh, that guy just made me angry. Oh, I gotta sing. I love you, Lord. You do that? Painful. 18 to 21. Wives, listen, wives. This is your favorite verse. Submit yourself. Oh, submit to your husbands as is fitting in the Lord. Do you do that, wives? I don't hear any yes. But on that family card, there's only yes. Do you do this, wives? Come on, husbands. How about this? Love your wives. I can do that when she's lovable. And do not be harsh with them. Do you do that? Do you do this, husbands? Oh, the children go, not my daddy. Hey, children, what about you guys? Obey your parents in every freakish thing. For this pleases the Lord. Do you do that, children? Come on, sea dogs. Do you do this? No, right? It pleases the Lord, but it doesn't please you. Definitely. And, well, it goes on and on and on. You know, when I don't know about you guys, maybe because I'm not holy enough. When I was meditating on this passage, I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do any of these. Don't you feel the same way? Come on, you just admit that you're bad people. Yeah. Let me tell you this. You know, the level of goodness here, level of like good personality here is like extremely high. And you don't like that. You don't like that. I don't like that. You know why? Because being good is painful. Being good is costly. Being good will take a lot of good things away from you. That's what being good about. Then why? I actually thought about being good. Why are you sometimes? Just few times, like very, very, like rarely. Sometimes you feel like I really have to be good, right? And you be good, like once every 3 years, right? Not even that often. I was thinking about what's the motivation behind that. Why are you sometimes, once in a while, once in like long while, why do you even think about, I better be good this time? Why? The motivation is simple. When we actually think about being good, it's more about, hey, I want my life to be about other people, not about me, right? That's what basically definition we have about being good. It shouldn't be about just me, it should be about other people. But the thing is, if you go deeper in that motivation, it's not really about others. It is actually about you. Because when you are being good, it's usually either you are expecting certain type of merit. If I'm being good, later on, maybe people will recognize me. If I'm being good, maybe, I'll get some sort of advantage out of it. We are expecting some type of merit, some sort of reward. So it's not really about others. It is about you, still. On the other end, if it's not about reward, it's about your self-esteem. If you're like, oh, at least I'm this type of person. At least I am, I have this kind of social status. At least, I am this certain, position of society. There's a self-esteem. So once in a while, you want to be good. So that you can kind of prove that. So it's not, again, about them. It is about who? It's about you. So motivation itself is not good. So being good, still, is not good. But there is only one occasion, one condition, when your being good is not really about yourself. You know when that is? You know what the condition is? Only one condition. It's this. When you are in love, and it's unconditionally about that person you love. Seriously, you are just generously being good to that person you love. Only when you are in love, that happens. So if you look at today's passage, all those parts, about being good, you gotta have a humility, you gotta be thankful all the time, you gotta sing, you gotta submit yourself to your husband, all your wives. Hard things to do. But Colossians doesn't just say you list of the good things you gotta do. It actually says one more. And it changes everything. It goes like this. If you look at verse 17 and 23, and listing all those good stuffs you gotta do, painful stuff you gotta do, it adds this. And whatever you do, it's verse 17. Whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the who? The Lord Jesus. Jesus. You see, Bible does not give us a list of the good things we have to do so that we can go to heaven by our deeds. It's not about that. Bible never asks us to be a good person on our own. It always talks about who? Jesus. In the name of Jesus actually means when you're doing good things, you don't do all those good things on your own. You do that in His name, which actually means the reason gotta be who? Jesus. Because when you are in love with Jesus, when you realize that love you're in with Jesus, all stuff will come out of your life. Just naturally. Just naturally. I saw interesting article about interesting competition, which is called, it's a wife carrying championship. Have you ever heard about that? And I saw all the photos, images. Is it on? So this competition, this race is about husbands. I don't know why. Carry their wives on their body. Here, not spiritual body, physical body. Okay? And they run and they gotta go through all the different types of obstacles. They gotta went over a little what do you call it, barrier or something, and then they go into the little water place. And I heard that's 480 meters. And the funny thing is, wives gotta be heavier than 49 kilograms. And from my view, most of you are qualified wives here. And most of you, I said, most of you, so don't take it wrong. It's not you, just most of you, okay? So don't email me. It's not you, most of you, okay? And just doing that. And when I was reading this article, one thing just clearly came to my mind. I better not, my wife, read this. I'm not doing this, okay? I mean, if you look at the photos here, if you look at all the husbands' faces, you see that? You see the husbands' faces? There's one word to express this. Painful. 2 words for this. So painful. 3 words? So painful. Look at them. They're in so much pain. And I was like, I didn't get it, because why are they are in so much pain? Because to me, my wife is like little feather in the air, you know? That's my official statement. But you know what? Here's this. Love, when Bible talks about love, it never says love is sweet. Bible never says love is sweet. Bible never goes love your neighbor as yourself. Aww. Bible never does that. Bible never says that. Whenever Bible talks about love, it says this. Love is painful. It is painful. Look at them. Look at their faces. Why? Because love is about carrying the person you love on your shoulder, sometimes in your heart, sometimes in your wallet, sometimes in your arms, sometimes in your, not very often actually, in your pain. That's what love is all about. All the good stuff we see from Colossians chapter 3, painful. Let's be honest. It is painful. You don't want to do any of these. Wives, you don't want to submit yourself to your husbands. No. And all the husbands know that already. And husbands, you don't really want to love your wives unconditionally like Christ loved the church. Because it is painful, and all the wives experienced that already. But here's the thing. When we realize how much we are in love with Jesus Christ in every part of your life, every part of your relationship, every part of your financial life, every part of your social life, every part of your school life, every part of your life, then all these good stuff will come out naturally. It will come out. And on that cross, Jesus showed this kind of love to us first. Love is about carrying somebody on your shoulder, in your life, in your arm. But Christ showed us that love. He carried us, carried our sins on that tree in His pain, in His death. And He wants us to realize that love, realize that grace of cross every single moment. And then all these Christ-like behaviors, personality, they'll come out. They'll come out. I'd like to tell you a story. About like 3 weeks ago, Pastor John asked me to meet with somebody. And we got actually mail from TCIS, because this person emailed TCIS about possibility for his daughters to come to this school. And school staff at the school connected this person to Pastor John, and then he asked me to meet with this guy, this man, together. So I went out. It was in Cheonmin-dong. This man is from Pakistan, and he's a Pakistani refugee. I heard his story. His story was he used to be a lawyer in Pakistan, and one of 2 Christian lawyers, only one of 2 Christian lawyers, and there are 7 million Christians. Still, that's like 5% because there's a lot of people in that country. And what I heard is he's a lawyer, and legally he fought for those Christian community because there is a blasphemy law in the country, which actually means if you blaspheme Allah, then it's okay for other people to beat you up, give you some disadvantage. And this guy's name is Emmanuel. Emmanuel actually fought for a Christian community with the law. It's not fair for Muslim community to do this to Christian community. He did all that, and then his name got to be known more and more in Muslim community, and obviously it gets more dangerous. And then there are a lot of Christian friends around him recommended, hey, you cannot stay here anymore because you don't really know what's going to happen to you. If they do something to you, what are you going to do with your daughters? So this family decided to come to Korea as a refuge. But here, as a refuge family, it is hard for them to live because it's extremely hard for him to get a job here. And his Korean isn't that good. And just to be honest, if you are like different ethnic group person here other than Caucasian or Korean, it is kind of extremely hard to live here. Especially getting a job. So he shared the story with us. He was asking, if there's any way we can get him a job and a little help too. So Pastor John and I, we thought of some possibilities, and then we went home. A few days, I was like thinking, how can I help him? And then I came up with the idea that we have a Christian radio station here, a local Christian radio station, which is called the Kukdong Bangsong. It's FEBC. And I have a radio show there too. And we air our sermon messages there too. Sunday 5 p.m. Just a little advertisement here. 93.3. So I was like thinking, and then I decided to call my friend there. I asked him, there's a morning show, it's live. So I asked the producer guy of the show, hey, is it okay for me and my friend Emmanuel to go there and kind of share his story with the listeners? And then this guy said, yeah, sure, that's a great idea, which actually happened last Wednesday. So we did a show there, radio show. And then next 2 days, a lot of people, seriously, a lot of people responded. There are people who just sent money to the Emmanuel's bank account. A lot of people did that. There was a couple showed up that night at Emmanuel's place and give them gifts, welcome them. A lot of people responded. And then Friday, we got a text. Was saying, if he's not hired anywhere yet, I own a factory. It's like one-person factory, but I was looking for help. And I am willing to give him a job if he's not hired yet. And the next day, on that day, I called Emmanuel, and we went there. And then he got a job. It all happened just 1 week. And I invited his family here at CIC today. They're here. Emmanuel, can you come out onto the stage right now? Yeah, please. And your family, yes. Everybody. Come here, yes. Come on, yes. I want you to meet with this family. Come here on the stage. Think about it. Put yourself on his shoe. You're in Pakistan now, and you're a lawyer, and you know that if you go to Korea, if you as a refuge, you will lose everything, all the good stuff, all the